Kate Rennell, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about the Pacific blue mussel, or Mytilus trosis in the scientific name, or Snix and Mussel, or yak in Tlingit. These bad boys are all over, as you can see. We're at Bellingham Bay right now, and they tend to grow on kind of condensed surfaces in groups. They love being by their brethren, and yeah, I will proceed to tell you all about them if you'll follow me. Mussels are characterized by their teardrop shape, black or brown color, and the concentric lines that go around each shell. Do you want to zoom in on that? Perfect. And the mussel beard, which is what connects it to the actual rock, is the connective byssal threads, which allows the mussel to attach to each substrate, as I just said. Each mussel ranges from about 2 to 4 inches at maturity, though they can grow up to 8 inches. As you can see, all these guys are kind of 2 to 4 inches. They're kind of small, but they're very cute. They tend to kind of grow on beds, so there's a lot of them at a time. They are usually limited by predators. On the shore side, shorebirds, gulls, and crows eat them, and at low tides they are very vulnerable. On the seaward side of the bed, they are devoured by numerous species of sea stars, as well as anemones, snails, crabs, and fishes. Diving ducks such as scooters or harlequins take them whenever they are submerged as well. Here is just a small example of some of the Pacific blue mussels down at Bellingham Bay. There are tons. We did our best not to step on them and not to harm any in the making of this video. Blue mussels tend to thrive in intertidal shallow water around shorelines and throughout the bays of the Pacific Northwest. Using their byssal threads, they attach to rocks, pilings, shells, and other solid objects in order to better withstand the tough conditions of the intertidal zone. They are able to withstand freezing temperature for several months. They are well acclimated to a 5 to 20 Celsius temperature range with an upper sustained thermal resistance of about 29 Celsius for adult mussels. Blue mussels do not thrive in the saltiness of less than 15%, but can usually withstand wide environmental fluctuations. Usually they're found in these beds, as you can see around here. The tide was relatively low on this day, so we were able to really get a full view, and the mussels were beautiful. They were much more abundant than last year, which is a huge fortune given the weather. The range of the Pacific blue mussel spreads all the way from northern Alaska to northern Mexico. The Pacific blue mussel range also overlaps and has hybrids with mussels such as the California mussel, Mitis californius, and the Mediterranean mussel, Mitis galliprontulus. All of them are sibling species which have distinct but overlapping distributions and may hybridize in these areas. The Pacific blue mussel faces a number of threats. Recent heat waves, ocean pollution, and overharvesting have been the biggest threats in recent years. They have been shocking and scary. Many of the Pacific blue mussels have also been struggling with recent plastic pollution and overabundance of seafood predators. A lot of areas have been clearing out in recent years or just not doing as well, especially during the horrible heat waves of 2021. I personally noticed a huge reduction of mussels in my local area, so if you see them, try to treat them carefully. I know they're very easy to step over, but always take care when stepping on beaches with marine life to not step over like little barnacles and mussels. It's very important. Pacific blue mussels provide critical food resources for close shore predators. They also play a role in estuaries and other ecosystems as filter feeders. They are a conduit of species such as sea ducks, sea otters, shorebirds, and other terrestrial mammals, as we talked about previously. They are deciduous and free spawning. Their spawning occurs in April and May in our area, Puget Sound, BC, but often occurs a little bit earlier, November through May, in Southern California. Historically, indigenous groups used to eat mussels raw, boiled, steamed, roasted, or dries. Some cultures only ate mussels directly after harvesting, with no preservation. Coast Salish groups all ate them regularly. During times of starvation, groups like the Southern Okanagan would shuck and boil mussels for immediate use, and during periods of prosperity, tribes would practice pit steaming. There were very few medicinal uses I could record from indigenous tribes, but California mussels were considered a healing food by the Manhousen. The shells of the Pacific blue mussel were often traded or used as a currency between indigenous tribes. Mussels were also used as knives or tools for preparing and consuming other foods. Today, mussels are now celebrated worldwide as a delicious cuisine. According to NOAA, they're currently regarded as a smart and stable seafood choice. Certain mussel species are also now being experimented on as a form of biodegradable bioplastic. It is a completely new theory and there's not that much research on it, but I just thought I would share as it's a very exciting technological use. After filming that scene, we went over and got our mussels from Taylor Shellfish. They are a local Pacific Northwest shellfish company that is based right on the Chuckanuts. Check them out if you have time. They have amazing stuff. Yes. This is the Pacific blue mussel, and as you can see, there's a lot of it. We're at Taylor Shellfish. Very exciting. Woo! On top of selling shellfish, Taylor Shellfish also sells a variety of fish. They were out of king salmon today, but I hear it's very good. We are outside Taylor Shellfish. I have my mussels, my Pacific blue mussels. Do you want to do a little panorama just to show how beautiful it is out here? They have a variety of seafood here, and it is a way of sustainable harvest. They practice sustainable harvesting here. I would prefer, just because there are some safe years, not to get my mussels harvested from the ground, and it's not really the time of year to do it in the first place. So I have these guys, and yeah, we are off to go cook them pretty soon, aren't we? Let's go. Hey, it's you! Welcome to my home. Let's make some Pacific blue mussels. Before we get started cooking, I just wanted to go over some of the sustainable harvesting practices that mussels use, if you'd follow me. For this project, we got our harvested shellfish or Pacific blue mussels from Taylor Shellfish. We chose to do this because shellfish were hit particularly hard last season during the 2021 fires and smoke seasons. However, the Washington State Department of Fish and Wildlife has stated that public harvesting seasons vary by beach. On their site, the department has a list of public access harvesting areas, as well as water quality information, beach locations, and different harvesting seasons. All this is super important to come into when harvesting, and harvesting season is actually going on right now between May and September. So right now we are debuting the mussels. As you can tell, this is the little beard, and when you snap this guy off, it effectively kills them, which is sad, but makes a lot of sense, because, you know, I do not have much space. If you've seen the pan of my kitchen, I have about 2 people's worth of space, so we are working hard to make sure this is a working process. I'm gonna take off the oysters and then put it in the harvesting bowl. If a mussel is open, you should never eat it. It means it's been long dead, and it's not safe to eat a mussel that is in that condition. I am completely new to this. Usually I get my mussels pre-bearded or already debearded, so this is a fun process for me as well. Again, I just wanted to thank the mussels so much for giving me their life and letting me eat them on this joyous day. It is lovely to be able to do this. And I will update you when I am done. Finished our bearding process. And if you want to come over here, these are all the debearded mussels. They look amazing and they're all set to cook. And here are the rest of our ingredients. I don't have out the spices since they're in my spice drawer, but as I cook, you'll be able to see me kind of go through everything and start cooking. Let's do it. Ooh, that's messy. I'm just gonna submerge everything in a billion layers of wine, and I'm gonna use all of it. Boo-boo! Instead of going with the Norwegian mussels I originally decided on, I decided to go with more of a French mussel as well, instead. And right now I've just poured my white wine and my lemon juice in, and I'm gonna add a little bit of oat milk, which I think is a pretty good and thick, substantive ingredient, which really makes the sauce pop. I also, actually just right now, am about to toast some bread to go with the mussels. Ta-da! So this is a gluten-free baguette. I have a lot of dietary issues, so this meal is done entirely gluten-free and dairy-free and pescatarian. So far at this point in the soup, I have put in wine, butter, shallots, garlic, onion, salt, as well as some parsley and some fennel. It is looking delicious, and we'll add more. Here are some fun facts and very important facts about the Pacific blue mussel. They are extremely nutritious, very high in vitamin B12 as well as iron and zinc. However, because their status as a filter feeder has some negative drawbacks, the Pacific blue mussel is at risk for some contamination and pollution, especially depending on when and where they are harvested. Mussels acquire the highest level of toxins of any shellfish, so following park rules and only eating them when in season is incredibly important. Historically, many indigenous cultures only ate mussels during winter when the poisoning risk was at its most minimal. Recent research also suggests that microplastics have become an increasingly large problem in at least 4 of the largest and most commonly sold shellfish in the Pacific Northwest, including the Pacific blue mussel. So be careful. You never know what could be in your mussel. So we are about to submerge the mussels, and they will go under for about 5 to 10 minutes, and we'll just check on them after, and they should be producing this delicious, amazing flavor after, and we've reached almost the end of our recipe. Let's check on our bread. Doing pretty well, needs another minute, and pretty soon everything will be ready to eat. I'll get back to you in 5. Mussels are all ready, the table is set, and we are ready to eat. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you in the future are able to enjoy Pacific blue mussels. Let's give a big thank you for our guest of honor and our star.